Kind of winding down from the LSU game. Of course, Tuesday's our day to really get to work hard on the Lafayette game, and of course that's what we are doing. But I have to go back, and again, as I've looked at the video of the LSU game and watched our players on both sides of the ball and specialty teams, I'm still very proud of our football players. When you go into a place like that you grew up so much aware of, it just has a different ring than playing Kentucky, or the wins we've had over Mississippi State or Kentucky or Arkansas or Alabama still don't have have the impact to players playing in Baton Rouge, growing up and doing and the relationship that they have to that program. And I am proud of our guys. They could have been overwhelmed by it, but they went in there and played as hard as they could, and played very hard, and put us in a position, as the score may not even show, how a play here or a play there, we're in a position to at least fight for the victory in that game. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have played better at the last minute. It doesn't mean they wouldn't have panicked and played worse in the last minute. But we can't. All I know is we played very hard, and but for 4th and 1, twice on the 1 yard line, not where we were stopped, but we executed a play that was open, but could not. We caught a pass, a little flat route pass, and a back just leans down and struggles and trips as he falls down on the 1/2 yard line with nobody tackling. In the pros, he would have crawled in for the score, but they stopped it. And the next time we ran the throw back to the quarterback on 4th and 1 after driving. And these plays we drove a good bit. The first one, 75 yards as an offense against LSU. And I just got through watching a lot of video versus Arkansas and Alabama and a lot of people that they had played against. And we drove down, and the throwback quarterback was wide open, and we just couldn't quite hit it. So, again, but in the end, we were still fighting for touchdowns and trying to score points and get ahead. And I think we onside kicking to try to get one more. And so I was awful pleased with our players, the way they played and the way in which they showed on that field. Superstars, well, again, we're just a bunch of guys that are trying to play as hard as they can and put an offense and defense together. I think that's kind of the way I looked at it. Woodard and Josh Webster, they can always have good stats. They play hard. They're kind of both on defense, but Zach probably is going to make a lot of plays no matter who we're playing against, and Webb's not far behind him. I was also proud of Rhett Rodriguez, who's come back from an injury and doing what he can to pull our offense together in these games and play very, very well. It may not show, but Chandler is still a little bit banged up and is still apprehensive a little bit as he plays. And we're getting him back and ready. He did lead us to a touchdown, but he's slowly getting back involved. But getting us in a position to be successful and score some points, and defensively to keep us in the game was awful good. So not a lot of superstars, and I told our players, you don't ever want to get to the point where you look for moral victories or where you feel a loss is a moral victory. I'm not sure what the definition of moral victory is, but I do believe, and I told our players, that there couldn't be a game that you played that you could gain more respect for yourselves in this state or for our program in this state than to go down to Baton Rouge and Death Valley and play against LSU and know that their players and their coaches played against a good football player and a good football team, and to have that respect. And then what that means to players that wore this jersey in the past and alumni that play here, there's a good positive feeling about going down there and representing our program and our school well. And that's the kind of respect that I felt that the players earned. Can't take that away, that they received. Other than that, it's a loss. Whether you end up with 4 wins or 5 wins or 6, I think we are clearly have positioned ourselves, these players, to move our program in the right direction. Our noses are headed in the right direction, and we fight every week for a win, and it has given us some good wins. I do think everybody in the last half of our season, they pretty much now take us real serious when they play us, and we get their best shot. that leads, I guess, segues in well to ULL game, the Lafayette game, where now we must, leave the Tiger's Den and go to the furnace, or the fire of the furnace to the fire, and play the league's best team, or the league's best record, the team that's already locked up a championship game, a team that hasn't lost a Western Division game, I think, in 4 years. And so, yes, I guess you'd have to say Lafayette is our rival, and that's one that I've coached enough to know who rivals are, whether it's Akron, Kent State, whether it's Auburn and Alabama, Florida State, West Virginia, Pitt. All my life there's been one, and this is one. However, at this point in time, we know that we're also competing with someone that would put us at the top of the conference. That not only are we playing Lafayette as a state rival that we feel like is one we have to that has to be one you circle, whether you're Auburn and Alabama or wherever, but also they represent the very best of our conference. Right now, they are the elite of our conference. Their coach is the hottest name in the conference. Be hard for that school to keep that coach long. He does a great job. He's got outstanding athletes, coached very well. Billy was a quarterback at Furman, and my brother hired him as a graduate assistant at Clemson, then brought him back for his first full-time job at Division I, and he's carried himself on forward since then, and as I see his name mentioned at every job that's open, and I see that these young coaches, at least to me they're young, are just this. Our conference is full of outstanding young coaches. He's right on top of the list, and he's got a program that is there. So, although they are, I'm learning they are our rivals, and we have to treat them and talk about them as rivals. You have to say they are the class of our division for sure, and as good as anybody in our conference as well. And that we will be it'll be a great challenge for us, but an opportunity as well to go down there and play a team that at least we'll have an indication of, after a full season, where do we stand now along with the very best of the conference. We do know we can compete with the conference. We've beaten teams that they've beaten. We've beaten some teams in the conference pretty good, but we've also been beaten by some of the better teams in the conference. And so this will be one where our players we're excited. They know the opportunity is there. They have come off a game where I think they have a lot of, it's very important that your team believes that no matter what, if we play our very best, every snap, we got a chance to beat anybody. But I think at LSU, it gives our players a chance to come off and say, if you play your very best, you have a chance to play as good as the guy against you if he's a Power 5-star guy. That's a whole different level of confidence that you can get. Now, there might be a mental aspect where LSU is not really I coached down there 2 years ago, and I hadn't seen a better football team when I was at Clemson. We played them for the national championship, and I kind of watched them in awe. But I think I think our players will go in knowing that athletically, ULL may have a much more cohesive group focused on championship ball, but they won't have 11 people on the field better than what we just played. And we know that, and that we know. So I want our players, and we're going to work hard today and tomorrow, as hard as we can, because we call them Tough Man Tuesday and Working Wednesday. Those are critical days for us, and for a loss, we sure got slapped on the back for a lot Sunday and Monday around here, and it's time to recognize that we're now playing a team with a lot more incentive, a lot more motivation, and a lot more ability, if we don't go down there ready to play, to spank and send us home. And we know we don't want that to happen. So we play our best. We go down there expecting to find a way to win. Their coaching is so good. Their athletes are superior. In this league, they're superior athletes for the Sun Belt, and we know what we're facing when we go.
Coach, you know how these things happen this year. Sometimes the teams limp into the finish line, others have motivation. You guys are a little bit different, don't you think? You've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Certainly you're playing.
Yeah. We never really lost 4 because we got down. We lost 4 because we're playing on the edge every game. And early on, we play on the edge. Some teams that probably didn't come into the game giving us a lot of credit for having a chance, and you could see by the line, whatever that means, where those games stood, and we pulled off some good wins. Toward the end, there were some teams that, by gosh, we haven't played our best. We can win this game, but now the other team knows they can do this too. We got to have this win, and we played our best in those games, whether it be Texas State or Arkansas State came down to the wire, but we didn't make the last play. And then after those two tough losses, which meant a chance to win 6, in a bowl type of deal in 1 year from 0-11, then you go into LSU and they got to beat them, man. You got to beat 2 of your toughest opponents to do that. But we got to go back to focusing on just one team. So I don't think we're limping. I don't think losses to some programs are a little different than losses to other programs. My focus has been, do you still play as hard as you can play? Then how can we be down or angry or mad at you when you played just as hard and lost as you did when we won? There's just an understanding whether you're playing Louisiana, LSU, and miss 2 4th-and-1s on the goal line, or you play the team before that, Arkansas State, and you miss a play that can win the game as well. They kick the field goal to win the game, where we usually have done that type of thing. I think they have played hard. So, again, what we're doing, we have a team. I think we're going to play at our best. Where I think we're at the best of our football team. We're banged up a little bit, but so are they. I imagine everybody in the league, everybody in the country, if they're out there complaining and mid-pitching and moaning, are without key players. And we've played without key players. We don't always step up. The next guy just step up and be just as good, which I imagine Lafayette, with the amount of time that Billy has built for that program. This is 4th season there. They were good before he got there. I know when I was at Akron, we played Lafayette twice. We lost the first one. We won the second one in Lafayette. But they were awful good back then, too, going to bowl games and all that stuff. And it seems like to me coaches over the years have gone to Lafayette, win, get a job, and move on. That's kind of the tradition at Lafayette. And so we're trying to create that kind of tradition here, except I'm not looking to go on. The next time I go on, it'll be in a long caravan of cars. That's the next thing I want to go to is not the ending of a job here. It'll be a happy retirement. But anyway, I think we're going into this game as best as we can be. If there might be an injury here or there, but and I expect our players to give them our best shot. And you got to remember, these players that are coming back got beat 70-20. They don't that sticks in their craw. I know as a head coach, when I'm looking at that scoreboard on the side, and when it gets close to 50, I'm thinking about that press conference after the game, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to bring my players back the next Sunday. Because that's it immediately it has an effect, but when you and I've never had to deal with that, but you go to 70 in a game like that, I'm sure there was a chance to keep it. I haven't watched it and watched how the game. I've watched it, but I haven't watched to see that it could have been kept down in the 50s. But regardless, they were at the top of their game. Our players weren't the first person to give up on the season around here. If it was said they did, there were a lot of people that did that before those players did. That's for sure. And we'll move forward, and we look forward to it.
So you're wrapping up the season.
Mm-hmm.
Your first season as head coach. How important is it on Saturday?
It means we can beat the best team in the conference. So I guess, how important it is us in 1 year go from 0-11, never leading in a game, to beat the very best team in the conference, I'd say that'd be awful dadgum good if we can do that. But if you say, is it important in the degree in which I believe the future of this program lies? Absolutely none. This game has so much merit on its own. It's a rivalry game. It's your in-state rivalry. It's a conference game. It's against the best team in the conference from a standpoint of where they stand. But does it have any kind of rank beyond that? If we don't win this game, we're not moving in the right direction. Has absolutely none. I wouldn't place that on my players or my coaches. So whether we can win 4 games in 1 year or 5 games in a year, you can decide anybody can decide whether that's going to rank higher or lower in someone's mind about where we're moving in the direction of this program. But I would like this game. And after the season's over, you can ask me the question, and we can look at the entire season in retrospect. But I think going into this game, we want to win this game because that's ULL. That's Lafayette. They're in our conference. They're in our division. And somewhere along the line, we got to play them a lot closer. And ULM has played them very close in the past. There's been a lot of good games with this team in the past. And we just got to go out and play our best. Because when we play a very good team in this conference, we played some very good teams in this conference that did not let us compete. They got out there and whipped us pretty good. Coastal Carolina did that. course, Georgia State did that, and Coastal Carolina did that. We couldn't, and Georgia State, as we thought at that time, they ended up being a pretty good football team, and we thought they were even when we saw them play back then. And we could not keep up with those teams, or Appalachian State. Those teams have been pretty good at getting after us, pretty good. And we want to fight hard, because if we don't play our best, the better teams in the conference are still better. Right now, we play really good. They're not nearly better in regard to the number of points that get scored.
Coach, they got a number of playmakers. But
Yeah.
the centers around Levi Lewis, the quarterback.
Yeah.
He makes them go.
Yeah, he does, man. When you better make sure he doesn't beat you by himself. He can do so many things, and he's had such a great career that this year just seems like another year, an average year. But that's because they got more playmakers. They got a defense that just shuts people down. Liberty I thought they just dominated their offense, and the way they played, it was a slow start for both teams, but they just dominated. But he's an outstanding quarterback, but if we don't get a handle on him, he can run and beat you and throw and beat you. But he's got a lot of playmakers around him, so they're not a one man show. He's just the guy. When you're successful in the Sun Belt, and that's or the MAC or the SEC or in junior high school, you've got a quarterback that's a little better than the other team's quarterbacks, and that's where they are.
Thursday's Thanksgiving. What's your favorite Thanksgiving tradition?
Watching football. I've been the day I was born, I was the son of a college football coach, and to this day, I'm a college football coach in my 26 years as head coach. Every Thursday, every Thanksgiving has been a football week. I don't have Thanksgiving in the more normal American traditional sense. I've never had that. On Thursday, it's a football week, and it's usually your rival. I know with Kent State, quite often on Friday was the game. And so many times in the past, a Friday game was not unusual. So you weren't even you were in a hotel. But Thanksgivings, I don't know that I have any of them that really distinguish themselves, except that every single one of them has usually been practice in the morning. Have a great family Thanksgiving dinner with your team, as we will have. Scott McDonald has a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner prepared here for all the athletes on campus at 6, and we will be able to come together, which I love as an athletic family here at ULM, is to spend Thanksgiving together. But I will say this: the older I get, the more I appreciate that we have Thanksgiving, and we call it Thanksgiving, and we'll always call it Thanksgiving, because if nothing more, it's a time to be thankful for all that we have in this country, for all that we are, and we don't have to be apologetic about good or bad times in this country if we're all appreciative and thankful of other people and of the blessings that we have. And as athletes who are just blessed to have the ability to earn a scholarship and play football, for all of us who play football during the week of Thanksgiving, we should be especially thankful that we have an opportunity in a country to get a scholarship for college just by playing football, and then we spend our time with our football family and our university family during this time. So it's always a time that we get together with our ULM family and spend time together before traveling on Friday.